As you well know, Fox is America's election headquarters as Hillary Clinton looks to boost her delegate lead with 5 mid-Atlantic states voting on Tuesday. Many Democrats are now pressuring Bernie Sanders to get out of her way so she can focus on the general election and whoever it is that Republicans nominate. Sanders, though, is not having any of it, saying the party has not been fair to his campaign. Let's talk about it with Richard Fowler, a Democratic strategist and radio talk show host. Gianno Caldwell is a Republican strategist. He served as an advanced staffer on Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential campaign. Gianno, I'm going to start with you because you say that there's no need for Bernie Sanders to get out of this race. Why do you think so?
And great to be with you, by the way, John. I say that it's the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party to say that they're all for allowing for citizens' voices to be heard through the voting process, but yet when it comes to Bernie Sanders, who's outraised Hillary Clinton, who has won a number of contests, and who has actually been negatively impacting her because people are seeing her for what I believe her really to be, which is a liar, a panderer, and as Bernie Sanders asserted in a recent debate, someone who's very comfortable using racist language. So I say that there's no need for him to get out of the race because he can take this thing all the way to the convention, and that's what it's all about, right? Democracy, as the Democrats say oftentimes, right?
I guess so. Hey, Richard, Democrats are of different views on this point. Where do you come down?
Now, Gianno, now. Thanks for having me, John. Here's the truth. You've never heard anybody from the Democratic Party, any Democratic Party leader say to Bernie Sanders to get out of this race, right? You hear some folks who I would argue don't even work for Hillary Clinton. All right, the Hillary Clinton people are saying we like Bernie in the race because he does a couple things. The first thing Bernie does is he excites young people. We need young people to win in November if we're going to be Donald Trump or Ted Cruz. The second thing that Bernie does is Bernie adds more vote. He increases people because he has enthusiasm on his side. He allows more people to register to vote. More people become part of the process, right? The longer more people are part of the process, the better chances we have of beating the Republicans in November and taking back the United States Senate, which is up for grabs in this election. So I think you hear a couple of a minority of voices saying Bernie, it's time to get out. But if you talk to any of the party officials, anybody who gets what it takes to win a presidential election, they're telling you the longer that Bernie stays in, the more registered voters we get, and the better chances we have in November.
But he has made no commitments to delivering those supporters, Richard, to Hillary Clinton. I mean, there are big questions about how far he will go.
Well, he doesn't have to, John. That's the job of the Clinton campaign, to get those voters and bring them back in. Hillary Clinton didn't make any promises to Barack Obama in 2008 about getting her voters to vote for him. He went out and he got them, and he won in 2008 and 2012. So what Hillary's going to have to do, when I've said this number of times in a number of writings, is that she's going to have to slowly start talking to young people, slowly building a campaign that can make them enthusiastic about her, and then get them to turn out in November. That's on the Hillary Clinton campaign, not on Bernie Sanders.
He is right, Gianno, in that most, top-level Democratic officials are not telling him to get out of the race. Debbie Wasserman Schultz spoke to Chris Wallace earlier today on Fox News Sunday. She wasn't saying that. But here's a quote from a Democratic operative in Wisconsin who told Politico the longer he waits, meaning Bernie Sanders, the longer he waits, the more damage he does. Now, Gianno, is that why you, as a Republican, would like to see Bernie Sanders stay in the race?
Well, we've seen that Bernie Sanders' honesty and integrity numbers are very, very high. We also see that he is amplifying the message that Hillary Clinton is a dishonest person more than anyone. And I think Democrats, especially younger voters, are believing him because it's simply the truth. And I think at this time, with Bernie Sanders in the race, and I believe there's a chance that if she's indicted, he may be the nominee. I think it makes sense for him to stay in the race.
Richard, he's within a couple of points of her in California. He has said he wants to stay in this race all the way to the end. I mean, what if he were to, what if he were to win California? I mean, all kinds of crazy things could happen.
Yeah, I mean, he could win California, but I'm laughing at Gianno because I don't know where these points are coming from, right? The reason why Bernie Sanders is doing so well has less to do with him talking about Hillary Clinton's negatives, which he hasn't done. He hasn't talked about her emails. He hasn't done any of that. He's been talking about a very positive message about making sure that we expand Medicare for all, making college more free and affordable. The issues that affect everyday Americans, fixing the rigged system. So Hillary Clinton's talking about the same things, right? And so that's why Democrats are going to be poised to win in November.
Richard.
That's why Democrats are poised to win in November, because you guys spend more time talking about how high you want the wall to be and how you plan on either targeting or kicking Muslims out of the country. That's why we are winning in all the major national polls.
All right, Richard. wants to
Richard,
take
I
you
don't
on
know
it.
where you're getting your facts from, if it's the Daily Onion or
The
you're
polls?
reading them off the back of a cereal box, but that's simply
I'm reading them
not
directly
true.
from the
and you know
polls.
that that is absolutely dishonest,
That
Richard,
we're
for you to
ahead in
say
all the
that-
national polls?
If,
All right,
for you to
that's
say that he is
absolutely
not
true.
talking
Hold on.
about things...
Gianno, make your point, and then I'll give Richard a chance to respond.
Very good. For you to say that he is not talking about her disastrous record, that he is not talking about her vote in Iraq, he is not talking about her speeches on Wall Street, for you to say that that's just a positive tone and she's talking about the same things is absolutely dishonest, Richard. Come on now.
That's not what I said. I said that he wasn't talking about her emails, and that's the truth. Maybe you missed that
That's the
sentence.
one thing he's not talking about.
But that's neither here nor there. All the national polls show that either Bernie Sanders and or Hillary Clinton will beat Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in a head-to-head in November. And that's all that matters for the Democratic Party. We want to maintain the White House and win the Senate. And how we do that is by expanding the base and talking about a positive message of breaking down barriers instead of building walls and kicking people out the country.
I would submit, Richard, that it's what happens between now and November that matters.
Very true.
Those polls can change. All right. Good discussion. Richard Fowler, Gianno Caldwell, thank you both.